Hey girl, hey! Sarah and Lexie, so sexy.
That's great.
What was something else you said? You know what I'm talking about? It's okay if you don't.
That's like so delusional.
I could probably just do this all day.
Oh my god. I love this.
Girl. Bye!
Hair. Becky's butt. Hey girlies, welcome to Talk Girlietome, the podcast for the girls who overshare, overthink, and overachieve. We're your hosts, Sarah and Lexie. We're diving into anything from creativity to wellness to work and everything in between. Let's get into it.
Hello, it's Sarah and Lexie. Sexy, we're back. No, I'm just kidding. I want that to be our intro so bad, but that's so inappropriate. Okay.
It's not related at all.
At all. We don't talk about sex or sexiness at all. This is professional. This is a professional podcast.
Even know what we look like.
Yeah, if you are here and you are looking to listen to some scandalous sex stories, you're in the wrong place, sir. You can move along. We're talking about living life, trying to start a business, and trying to live life.
Trying to balance
Lexie,
the
thank you.
delicate art between business and creativity and everything in between.
Yeah, and having a boyfriend and because having a boyfriend is a full-time job apparently. Nobody told me that, but it is. No, I'm just kidding. That's terrible.
Are you sure this podcast isn't about relationships?
It's not. I need to stop. Anyway, so...
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. I'm Lexie, and I have my wonderful co-host, Sarah, with me today. We're going to be talking about imposter syndrome and how that relates to us and the world of business and also creativity and our creative endeavors.
Thank you for that intro. That was beautiful. I think that you are better at getting serious than I am, so thank you for that. Lexie and I chose to talk about imposter syndrome as a topic because we both feel differently about it, which is interesting because, not everyone will feel the same about different topics. So it's kind of cool that we have a different viewpoint on it. I don't really feel it as much, really, at all. And I was talking about how earlier that not on record, but now I'm putting it on record, that I don't feel it because I feel that I work a lot and that if something, an award or I don't know, some type of success was to come fruition for me, I would feel that I deserved it. I think that comes with because I've made a lot of sacrifices with like quitting my job and just blowing a lot of money on things that I felt were worth it in my business, whether that was doing like a festival for like a tent sale situation or getting or the brick and mortar I had, all of the racks and the hangers and to put that together and the time I spent on outside on the weekend trying to sell my clothes on the street. And not to say that, Lexie obviously works very hard herself and has done endless shows and all that. But she feels it. So I'm going to let her speak now. So she can tell me when you feel it, why you feel it, and how you feel it. And also before we do that, I just want to put on record the correct definition Google says, so just so that everyone listening and we are on the same page of the meaning of it. Imposter syndrome is the condition of feeling anxious and not experiencing success internally despite being high performing in external objective ways. This condition often results in people feeling like a fraud or a phony and doubting their abilities.
Exactly. And then just to elaborate off that, I like this other definition I found too, where it kind of plays off of it, saying imposter syndrome is a condition where people doubt their own skills and accomplishments and feel like they're not as worthy or talented as others. People with imposter syndrome may also worry that others will eventually discover that they're not deserving of their achievements.
Oh, okay.
And I feel like that definition really encapsulates how I personally feel about it because, like you said, you put the work into it, you know you're deserving of all of your accomplishments and what comes from those accomplishments. And I agree. You are. We are. A bunch of people are. But for whatever reason in my brain, my best is still not good enough. And I know this stems from childhood and just issues that I got to work through. And that's just something I've learned through therapy. But yeah, it's just kind of wild to me because I thought for the longest time everybody had a little bit of imposter syndrome. So when you told me the other day that you don't experience this and you don't feel this, I was kind of blown away because I was like, wait, there's people out there who don't feel this at all?
Yeah, I like the definition you just said because it does give me a little bit of a different perspective. Just thinking about, because I guess there is if I have a custom design order, I feel like maybe I used to feel it. I don't feel it anymore. Yeah, it's just not. I would say when I had my first couple custom design orders, but I think just with me executing it on repeat with every customer and then seeing it on them and then seeing how happy they were. And also, I know I'm not perfect, and if I make a little bit of a mistake or something, a stitch was off, or maybe some a stitch was crooked, or I don't know how to put it, just something wasn't, or maybe something tore. I am also very open, or I should say I offer to fix garments free of charge. I do a lifetime warranty. So if I create a design for you, and there's wear and tear, or something happens to the garment at your event, you can come back to me with it and I'll fix it for free. So I think that gives me a little bit of peace of mind with my own creations. But also, yeah, when I guess when my first couple designs, I felt more nervous about when they were to put it on. Are they gonna like it? Are they gonna think that I didn't create it the way they wanted or something, or maybe the fit is a little off. So I don't know if it's maybe just because we have different lanes of work, because then I also have all these fitting dates, so when the person puts it on, and also aside from that, me doing fashion shows, I have different collections I've created. So, and not all the time I execute it the way that I imagined. So then I'll just go and redo it. But yeah, I don't know. I'm see that with you could just hear me as I'm I'm kind of thinking out loud, and I'm trying so hard to relate to it, but I don't think, yeah, I feel it just
Yeah,
as
no, I can
deeply
hear
as
the
you
thought
do.
process.
I don't know if it's a bad habit. I do have this bad habit of just thinking out loud. So if I get too wordy, let me know.
No, I love it. I love hearing the thought process. I love hearing the gears turning. And a lot of what you said seems to boil down to, yeah, I was nervous. Yeah, I was anxious about it, but I just did it anyway. I just did it. And I just kept doing it until I got better and better and better. And then I got good feedback from people, which just seems to kind of reinforce that you're doing a good job. And I feel like that kind of cured your imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I have a question for you, but I can let you go.
Okay.
It sounds like you're about to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, with music, sure, I've, put music out. I've been performing. I've been playing for a while, and I've gotten good feedback and encouragement from others. But
Right.
what my brain does, instead of taking that positive feedback and saying, oh, I did something good, I should keep doing this because people like it, my brain instead tells me, oh, they're just being nice. They're just encouraging you
What?
because they like you, they support you, they might not mean it, and they're just being nice. That's how my brain distorts it and interprets it for whatever reason.
Wow. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. You're slowly making a new worry for me. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry to everyone out there who previously did not have imposter syndrome before hearing me speak. That's literally what goes through my head. And it's so funny that Google gave me a different definition than it gave you, because I feel like it customized
It did.
the results based on our algorithm and based on who we are. Our phones know us so well.
That's scary. That is so scary. I think you're right, though. Wow.
It was on point. So what was your question?
I think you kind of answered it. I was gonna say, I know, you have experience cheering crowds and people, wanting. I remember watching a show and people wanted Frantic Endeavor to play all night. They would be screaming at you guys another one, another one. So I am
right. And
a little
normal person would
surprised.
take
Yeah.
that as and be like, wow, they love us. Yay, they love me.
It
But what
doesn't
my
feed your
brain does,
ego.
no, it doesn't.
It
Because what I
doesn't.
do is I'm like, oh, they're just cheering for the band. They're not cheering for me. They couldn't care
Lexie.
less if I wasn't here. Has nothing to do with me. If I was gone and the rest of the band was still here, people would be doing the same thing. So like that's literally my train of thought when stuff like that happens. Yes, I appreciate it. Yes, I'm thankful for it. But at the same
Of
time, I
course.
like detach myself from it and I try to convince myself that
Wow.
people are doing something for some alternative reason, which is crazy and paranoid. And I sound like I'm like conspiring and theorizing in my head, which I am, but I don't mean to. And I don't actually believe that about people. But at the same time, I'm like, but what if? But what if people aren't telling me the truth? People lie all the time just to be nice. So, and then I'm like, oh, well, what are they saying behind my back? Like, it's a whole thing.
What about, do you have anybody in your life, like Jared, or anyone who has told you something negative, like about, like critiqued you and been like, this is not your best?
I know I have had instances where people have been honest with me and were like, yeah, I can tell you were kind of holding back, or maybe you weren't being truly yourself. Like, I've had little instances like that, but I haven't ever had hard critique from many people. And that's why I get so suspicious because I'm like, there's
Yeah.
no way I'm not messing up. And why aren't people telling me I'm making mistakes so that I can be better? And
Right.
the answer to that is a lot of people don't want to have those conversations because it's awkward, it's uncomfortable. Everybody wants to be liked, so nobody's gonna like willingly, most people aren't gonna willingly come up to your face and be like, yeah, so you really could have done this better and that better. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? This is making me actually learn a little bit more about you, because I feel like what builds trust between people is when, trust on judgment anyway, is when I know, like, if I was to critique you and tell you like, oh, this is not your best, or this is not my favorite song, or something of that sort, when I do tell you like this song is bomb and I play it all the time, I love it, I think you would, like, maybe you could tell me if I'm wrong, but maybe you would believe me more, because on record I've critiqued your music maybe at some other point.
Oh, absolutely. I would definitely respect it more and take it more seriously.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, people who compliment in me and encourage me and support me otherwise, who don't critique me, I am just as thankful for that support and encouragement because I am my own worst critic, so I'm constantly tearing myself apart. So the people that do take the time to encourage me, say good things, say nice things, does mean a lot and it does help.
Yeah.
But I do really like the other feedback too.
So how many like people in your life do you think like are like give you harsh feedback, or like aren't afraid to tell you the truth?
I feel like this is turning into a therapy session.
Sorry, I didn't mean it to. I'm just
No, this is great. This is great. We're digging in deep here. No, I definitely, my partner Jared is honest with me, and I know that he tells me the truth, and he would tell me. And like when I say I want other people to criticize me or give me like good feedback, it's not that I want people to be mean to me. Like I don't want people to come up and be like, "Hey, you fucking suck." That's not the feedback I'm looking for. But some constructive criticism would be nice every now and again. So I know that my best friend Luis would give me feedback like that. He has in the past. He's like, hey, you know what I think would be really great if you tried this or if you did this. And I really love those types of conversations because it does open my mind to other alternatives and new ideas that I may not have thought of before.
That's good. That's important, because those are two very consistent people in your life.
Definitely. So what about you? How do you deal? Do you have people in your life who give you constructive criticism?
Yes, definitely my partner, Harlan, as well, is sometimes unsolicitedly honest. But it's okay. It's funny. He makes me laugh with it because he'll make it, I don't know, he'll just make it funny. But for him, for sure, I made a design for the wedding I went to yesterday, and I showed it to you, and it came out trash. And I like kind of knew it, but it's like I needed someone else to confirm that. And him and my mom confirmed that it was looking wonky. So I was like, okay, yeah, then I'm not going to wear it. And I'm thankful for that, because otherwise, I would have worn it, and I'm representing myself as a designer. And if it doesn't look good, and I don't want to be representing myself as a shitty designer. So yeah, I guess that's why I asked you all that, because I feel like what builds the like trust for me, when it comes to like actually believing somebody when they're critiquing you.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And it's definitely important, especially in relationships with people you're close with.
I think it's so, because they make the joke of like, oh, like if she looks fat in a dress, don't tell her, unless you want to ruin your marriage. But I don't believe that. I think, this is a nice way to be like, hey, that's not flattering on you. And then you should be honest about it, especially in a relationship.
Right. And you don't have to bash somebody. You can tell them like, hey, I think this might flatter you more, instead of saying like, wow, you look really bad in that. Like there are good ways and bad ways to approach this.
Yeah, for sure. So, because with imposter syndrome, it's like, does that feeling come from strangers, or does it come from like, I don't know how to put it, because it's like, is imposter syndrome something that is a general thing, or do you ever feel it like directly from somebody? I guess it would only be from a stranger then. I guess that's really the difference.
I feel it from myself.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very internal. It's not an external experience. It's something that comes from within. And that's why it's so hard to change and to believe something differently, because of the belief that I have told myself for so long. It's something that I have to just relearn. And it does connect to perfectionism. And I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like people who are perfectionists tend to also feel imposter syndrome maybe a little bit more than others.
Yeah.
Because we're always trying to be the very best in the room, or even if we're not competing with other people, we're competing with ourselves. And we're like, oh, we have to be the very best we've ever been, or else something bad's going to happen. So my perfectionism, I've definitely worked on, and I've gotten a lot better with that. One way that I've tried to loosen the hold it had on me a little bit is when I was in school, I would stop over analyzing my papers before submitting them. So instead of proofreading them like 10 times before I submitted the assignment, I would limit myself to like, okay, I'm only going to look at this 3 times. And by the 3rd time, I'm just going to submit it. I'm going to stop looking at this. I'm going to stop over analyzing. And if I mess up, if I don't get a good grade, whatever, I'm just going to submit it and see what happens. So doing stuff like that really helped. And I'd say my perfectionism's definitely not as bad as it used to be, but there's still a little bit of it left. And I feel like that's where this imposter syndrome kind of stems from.
Yeah, and I was just thinking that I think there is a healthy amount of perfectionism that should be had by people. And I think that you doing that and like limiting yourself on how many times you were going to check your paper, in my opinion, is like healthy, because you want to be able to double check it, but you don't want to like be obsessing over it.
Right.
Actually,
self-improvement is good, and wanting to be better is good, but not if you're obsessing over it. I absolutely agree.
I can relate with this, with being in the gym. I'm going to get really annoying, I feel like, in this podcast, because I'm going to start relating to the shit we talk about to the gym. But when I'm in
Sarah's
the gym...
a gym bro, for those of you who don't know.
You're a gym bro, too. Get out.
I know.
So, we're just a couple of gym bros.
You got me. We're just a couple of gym bros. That's what they do. They start a podcast and they just start talking.
Sorry. Blow your ears out laughing.
Sorry. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Apologize to every headphone user out there.
I know, literally. Okay, so I was gonna say, when I'm in the gym and I'm trying to Harlan's been helping me work out, and he makes me a schedule, right? But the way he's built the workout schedule is that he makes it harder than what I can actually do. And it drives me crazy, because if it says 25 reps, I'm like OCD about it. I'm like, I need to do the 25 or I'm going to die. Like, I feel that way. But like, sometimes or most of the time, I only make it to like 15, because he has me lifting some ridiculous heavy weight. And I have like a little like mental freak out, and he has to like remind me like, it's okay. You're not like, this schedule is built so you cannot achieve it right now. He's like, when you achieve it, that means that I need to change it and make it harder. So he's like, you're never going to be able to hit, or you will be able to, but like you know what I mean? Like the schedule just is always going to be harder than what you can do. So it constantly pushes me. So
Yeah,
that
that's a great example.
is something that I have been trying to deal with because, before, I don't think I was challenging myself enough. Because my schedule would be like always like 4 sets, 15 reps. And now it's like, and I would just be lifting the same weight. But now he has me like lifting heavier, doing more reps, an extra set if I have it in me. And girl, I am dying. So, in the best way ever.
Yeah, so you feel like you're half-assing it, but in reality,
Yes.
you're going above and beyond.
Yes.
And you're doing better than probably most other people.
Maybe. I hope so.
Or at least better than what you used to be able to do. So that's a really good example. And I think that's the perfect way to describe it. That's exactly how it feels. And we stumbled across an image of 5 key points of imposter syndrome and then 5 steps to take to help with imposter syndrome. And I feel like it'd be interesting to go over these together and kind of assess and see if we agree or not.
That is so smart. I love that. Yeah, let's do that.
So I have it pulled up on my end, so I can go ahead and get us started with the 5 key points. So the first thing it mentions is that many people from underrepresented groups feel as though they ended up in an esteemed roles and positions because of some oversight or stroke of luck. They feel they are frauds and that they will be exposed. So that's interesting because as women, we do fall into that category. And have you ever felt that you achieved something or something was given to you just because you're a woman?
Yes. And more specifically, because I think that maybe, I don't know, I don't want to ever like speak for men, but I feel like maybe some men do experience this just based off of being like a like generally attractive person. Objectively, there we go. Objectively attractive. So I would say I'm objectively attractive. So sometimes I call it pretty privilege. I think everyone here probably has heard that term before. So, for example, I hope my I hope my mechanic never listens to this, but but like when I go to get stuff done on my car, I've gotten free oil changes before, and he is very like,
girl.
Yeah, I mean,
You need to come with me to my oil changes. I have never gotten a free one.
He is like, just you coming by is nice. So, it's okay. It's on me or something. I know. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, you definitely would not do that for me if I was a 40-year-old man. So,
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good point.
There's that.
I mean, maybe he would. Who are we to say? But
true. I know, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm delusional. So, but there's that.
No, I feel like that's just a really hard question to answer because you don't really know what's going on in the mind of others. It's really hard to tell because like maybe yes, this has happened, but maybe not. Maybe we really were just the best option.
And it really helps if you're aware of it, because then you can use it to be business savvy. And Lexie, you are objectively attractive as well. So you can use it to your advantage. Like,
thank you.
Because I was aware of this, I remember when I first quit my job and became self-employed, I put myself in a window on Court Street in Plymouth, in like the storefront window with a pair of scissors and a bunch of t-shirts. And I waved at everyone walking by, and I told them that I would cut up their t-shirt for them. And so many men walked in just because they wanted me to touch them, probably. And I cut up their shirt for them in like funky, fun ways. It was like during the time of Halloween. So, and they probably came in because they were like, oh, this pretty woman in the window. I want to go like talk to her.
Oh, men are going to hate this podcast.
I know.
We're going to get so much hate from men on this episode.
I know.
I can see it now. But honestly, having this conversation about this first key point is curing my imposter syndrome as we speak, because here I am thinking to myself, like, no, I wasn't handed anything because I looked good. Like, no, I worked for that shit and I deserved it. And it's Yeah, it's fixing my imposter syndrome, I feel like. I just need to have conversations like this more often, I guess.
You just need to talk to me more.
Yep,
I'm gonna.
there it is.
People are gonna think I'm such a narcissist. All right, we should move along.
Yeah, we should move on. All right, point 2. There is. I'm gonna wait for you to get a handle on yourself.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me just.
You're like smacking the mic over there.
I know. I'm sorry. I know. Oh my God. I have this bad habit. I do it with people too. I don't know if I've done it to you, but sometimes I laugh so hard I start like slapping the person next to me. Have I ever done that to you?
You get violent.
I do.
Know. You may have.
I'm like, I start like punching you. Like, you're so funny. Like, you ever see that episode in Friends where that girl? Have you ever watched Friends? This will be
yeah. I
awfully
love
cool.
Friends.
Right. And there's an episode where I think it's Joey is like dating this woman who, when she laughs, she like punches him in the arm, and I'm like, oh my God, that's me. And he has to break up with her. Yeah, he breaks up with her.
Man.
Yeah, and he starts like wearing like 50 shirts, so then he's like padded.
Oh my God. Is that Harlan?
No, I mean, thank God Harlan's built like a tank, so he can take it, but...
There you go. Made for each other.
Okay, anyway.
All right.
Moving along.
Point number 2. There is suggestive evidence that certain personality traits, for example, perfectionism, are related to feeling like an imposter. Most strategies to address this focus on fixing the person. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I feel like we kind of already touched on this.
We did. So we can move along.
Number 3, we know that the working and cultural environment strongly contribute to feeling like I don't know what that means either. I should have read these beforehand.
The way I interpret this is, I guess it's maybe suggesting that whatever environment you're in, like I'm thinking of in a broad way, like we live in Massachusetts. For example, because we're in Massachusetts, a lot of people here do not value sustainable clothing, and me selling upcycled wear, there's just a lack of interest in it. But if I go to the West Coast, everyone's interested in it and loves it. I don't know if that's really what they're talking about, like that kind of thing.
No, I'd say that's it doesn't give you imposter syndrome, but it could give someone in your shoes imposter syndrome because they're trying to sell a product that nobody's appreciative of or wants or is interested in, so you have to try extra hard, or maybe you'll have less buys or sells. So I feel like that's a pretty good example.
Let us know your thoughts on number 3, and we will do a little recap of it in a later episode to respond.
All right, number 4. It is key to consider the quality of the treatment these people receive from their coworkers, supervisors, and subordinates, and revisit the inclusionary and exclusionary factors, such as micro inequities at play, such as the treatment that communicates a sense of value, worth, and fit. So I would say this relates more to my professional life than my creative side of my music, because at work, I don't really get imposter syndrome. I get it more in my personal life than my professional life.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I think that might be because of how much I'm paid. And I know that I'm worth what I'm paid. And it puts like a monetary value on my efforts and everything I've done to kind of, as like a benchmark to like kind of gauge where I'm at. And also from performance reviews and being able to be promoted within a company, I feel like reinforces my efforts and my work as being good. So there's less room for imposter syndrome to exist in that space.
You know what is funny? I kind of feel the opposite. Me in the work world, when I'm working in the fashion industry, like in a corporate office, I think I do have more trouble because in the fashion world, it's very verbal. So a lot of the information given to you is verbally, and it's fast. It's super fast. It's like, okay, like delivery 5:25. We're going to change this divine collection and these 3 styles to these colors with these materials. And we're going to cut the trim down 2 millimeters, and we're going to add a pocket, and we're going to change the interior to a different fabric. And they will say all of that information to you, and you just have to be like catching every little thing. And then you have to go and start getting everybody to make the changes, the designers, the tech designers, that has to be recosted, and the new pattern has to be made, and then a new sample. And it's really stressful because it's like all of these people are making all these changes for this one collection. And if you convey or you communicate it wrong, then it's your fault and you effed up. And that's happened to me before. So it makes me like, I don't know, it makes me so anxious and scared. And that's why I honestly kind of prefer to be self-employed, because I know what changes need to be made. And it's not like I don't know, it's just different getting, like, receiving it verbally from another person just stinks. I just think it's like a poor structure. I don't think any company should work that way. It should always be written down from the person who is asking for the changes, in my opinion. So when I have a company someday, like, I'm always going to just have it in an email, not just throw it at my coworkers or my my assistant verbally. It's like the devil wears Prada type shit. I hate it.
Yeah, that makes it feel like they're waiting for you to mess up, like they want you to, like they're intentionally sabotaging you. It's like corporate hazing.
Yeah, because of that, like, I have made a fair share of mistakes, and it when that happens, it does make me like doubt myself more, and then I start to feel like I don't even deserve to have the position I have or get paid what I'm getting paid. And but really, it's not me. It's the structure of the company and how I don't think information should be communicated verbally ever, especially with something that affects so many teams in the company, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense. And thankfully, my corporate experience is a little bit different from that. I do get a lot of my instructions in writing. So there's less room to fail. Of course, I will make mistakes along the way, but it's treated with positive reinforcement. And I've never had a bad experience at my current company, which is really nice. I've always had really good managers that support me and want me to do better and be better and move up in the company, which is helpful. But with that said, like, again, I have those benchmarks. I have the performance reviews. I have the ratings. I have the promotions. I have the money to prove that I'm doing a good job. Whereas with my creative side, with my music, that reinforcement, all the benchmarks come from social media mostly. It comes from streams, how many number of streams you got, how many listens, how many likes this post got, how many comments, how many follows, how many engagements, how many people want to collaborate with me. So I feel like as a creative, for me personally, if I don't have a lot of those engagements, I feel like my music isn't valued as much. And I use that as a benchmark sometimes of trying to evaluate what the people want and what the people like and if I'm doing a good job.
Yeah, I think that is a perfect way to leave a cliffhanger. So for the next episode, I think is when we should start talking about social media, because that is an excellent point.
All right. So we spent all this time talking about imposter syndrome and how we feel about it, how we cope with it. But I feel like a good way to end this episode would just be to go over the 5 steps on what Google tells us would be a good way to deal with it.
So, number 1, acknowledge the imposter syndrome is real and affects different people in different ways. Just because you never experience it doesn't mean that others also don't. So I think that's perfect. That makes you more aware that you are not alone, and that even like the person maybe telling you that you're great, they probably feel imposter syndrome as well. And, we're all human. You are not alone.
Yeah, and I would say when I first started learning about imposter syndrome and saw TED Talks about it on YouTube, I didn't realize even what that feeling was. I didn't know how to identify it. I didn't know it had a name. I didn't know it had a label, and I didn't know other people were experiencing it. So I would say, 5, 6 years ago when I first learned about it, yeah, it was comforting to know that I wasn't the only one and that it's a real thing that people deal with, and it's okay.
Oh, that's really cool. All right, number 2, make it part of yearly and talent performance reviews. People suffering from imposter syndrome are not less capable. However, they may need additional support until the culture is more inclusive. I think that kind of goes hand in hand with, like, where are you getting your talent and performance review? That what Lexie and I are reading off of looks like it's from like a company or something. So like Lexie said, it's easier to know when it's coming from a supportive company culture. But it's hard when you are self-employed or you're running your own business and it's coming from the deep, dark place of social media.
But I feel like it could also come from what we were talking about earlier with constructive criticism from people who are close to
You
us.
trust. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe that's what I need to start doing in my personal life. Just have my partner or someone close to me have a performance review with me like quarterly on my personal life. Just to see where I'm at, just assess where I'm going. And I feel like that might be helpful because like I said, I love that in my corporate environment. It works great for me there. So why not apply that to my personal life?
That is an interesting concept. I like that. I think
we might be onto something.
Yes. Okay, number 3.
And we will share the resource that we're reading this from in the podcast notes so that you can take a look at it if you want.
Number 3, systematically announce why people from underrepresented groups were selected for their role, focusing on their value add, competencies, and overall contribution to the team and organization, rather than just their group identity.
Yeah, I think it kind of ties back to what we were saying earlier about, oh, did I get this opportunity because I'm a woman? Or did I get this opportunity because I did a really good job and I deserve this? And I feel like point number 3 is talking about focusing. Well, as a manager of like in the corporate world or like in the professional worlds, like, people need to focus on the milestones that somebody completed in order to achieve what they've done. But in personal lives, I feel like it's good to remind ourselves that, like, hey, no, you got here because you worked for it. You got here because you did a good job and people believed in you, and not because of what you look like. So yeah,
So it's kind of like when you promote somebody, you kind of tell them why they earned it. Or in the business world, that could be really tough because then you just have to, you're going to either a loved one that you trust or yourself to be like, did I earn this level up in my business, or is it happening because I'm objectively pretty or whatever?
And you know what? If the latter is true, what's wrong with that? And in the grand scheme of things, why not? Use what you can to your advantage if you can.
Yeah, I agree. People do it all the time. Not even with just pretty privilege, but also with being like, use who you are to your advantage. So women do it with like, okay, I'm a woman-owned business, so that normally makes other women, want to support your business. Or if you say that you're a Black-owned business, I feel they do, then you're going to get the Black community supporting your business. So use who you are to your advantage. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, and it'll attract the support. Yeah, it'll attract the support you want. That's a great reminder, because if somebody had the audacity to come up to me and be like, you don't deserve anything you worked for, you just got this because you're pretty, I feel like that somebody saying that to me alone would make me angry enough to convince myself that no, I did work hard to be here. And like I was saying earlier, I think that would cure my imposter syndrome.
Yes. Ooh. Made me twitch a little. If somebody said that. Ooh.
Are you triggered?
I'm a little triggered. I'd be really upset. That would make me mad. But then also my response would probably be something sassy, like, okay, so.
Yeah. Are you mad?
Are you mad?
Sorry,
are you jealous? Yeah. Oh, God. Okay. Anyway, number 4, create an inclusive working environment where micro inequities are proactively addressed and where belonging, fairness, and equity are successfully managed and acted upon. Okay, so I think being inclusive is really important, especially if you're running your own business. Whoever was walking into my boutique, I was always making sure they felt welcome, because oh my gosh, all the time people would walk in and they would like whisper and kind of like slowly walk in like a timid little bird and be like, is this serendipity? And I'm like, yes, come in, please come in. I'd have to be waving my arms. I'm looking like a pigeon flopping my wings. I'm like, come over here. Come on in. I have candy in here. Oh, that sounds terrible. I have
Come on in, kids, I have candy.
Well, like I would just use like whatever I had, you know, to get them to come. Because you would, I don't know, you probably remember, you'd have to kind of walk down the hall a little bit, and it would throw people off because they're like, "Where are the clothes?" And I'm like, "You have to go down this hall and take a right, and right here. Yep, nope, not left. Down over here. Yep, come over." And I'd be like, and then they'd walk in and be like, "Oh, wow." And I'm like, "Yep, check it out."
So, follow-up question on that. Did you ever have anybody walk in who was looking for something specific or a certain style or a certain look, and they voiced that to you, and then you then did something about it to include that so that they would have it next time? Or so
Sometimes, because I think you also need to have boundaries as a business, because there was a while where I think I was taking on too much, even if it was outside of my skill level. So, you know, if somebody came in and asking for like, "Oh, I'm looking for a hat," you know, I don't have hats.
I'm looking
In
for
fact,
a man in finance, 6'5".
I,
Sorry, intrusive.
wrong podcast. This is not that kind of podcast. Like, no, I don't have a finance man for you. No, I feel like I don't have hats, and I'm honestly, I have tried to make hats before, and I'm not very good at making hats. So I've let it go. I'm like, it's okay. I don't need to be a hat maker. But if somebody comes in and they're looking for dresses, I will be like, "Oh, like come back in a couple weeks," and you know, and I would go on the hunt for like, you know, pink dresses in case that customer would come back, and I'd have a little selection for them to check out. So I really would do that. There was a lady once, she said, "My husband loves the color mustard." And I buy all types of mustard color clothing. And I'm not kidding. I went out and I got mustard clothing, and I upcycled a few things in mustard thinking that she was going to come back, and she never came back, but you know, whatever.
It was really cool to
So,
hear your side of things with your business. It sounds like
yeah.
you really do care about your people, and I love that. That's so cool.
Okay, number 5, last one. Verbally, visibly, lead by example, and hold yourself and your team accountable to lead inclusively by openly sharing your own feelings and of vulnerability and demonstrating value for each unique member of the team. Okay.
I feel like that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, agreed.
And honestly, yeah, I feel like this is helping with my imposter syndrome a little bit. It's opened my eyes, it's given me a fresh perspective. And yeah, I don't know, I'm feeling pretty good about it.
And you know what? I agree with that. And the other side, I feel like hearing from you, I kind of understand where imposter syndrome could be felt a little bit more. When you said that you think that people are just like being nice, it kind of helped me understand. I was like, oh yeah, because people do that. They will just be nice. But you know what? I saw this reel the other day, and this guy was talking about how there is a time and a place for criticism. And he was explaining that his friend just had a performance, and after the performance she's hopped up on, you know, adrenaline from having such a great night and her big night. And he in the moment was like, you know, that was I had a lot of fun watching you, and that was a great time for me, and it was great. But then, you know, the next day or maybe a few days later, he would go back to her and be like, "Hey, I just want to let you know, like, as your friend, I want you to know that was not your best performance. And you know, this is why I didn't particularly like it or whatever." So I think there is a time and a place for things. Because if somebody like right after a show came up to you and was like, "Oh, that was not great," like that would be not the right time. I think being like up from adrenaline, at least like I would think about it in my perspective from like a fashion show. I just would not want to hear that after my fashion show. I'd want to hear it later on when it's just you and me.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up because there definitely is a time and place. And I feel like most people just wouldn't be open to receiving that type of feedback in that environment at that place and time. So that makes perfect sense. I mean, after going through all these points of how to deal with it, what it is, me personally, I realize I haven't answered how I deal with it. And I just do it anyway. I just keep doing stuff. I keep posting. I keep singing. And I try not to think about it too hard because the more I think about it, the less inclined I am to do it, the more I am to overthink it. And then that is just chasing perfectionism, which does not exist. And then at that point, I'd never get anything done. I would never create, I would never finish anything because something would never be perfect. It can never be perfect. So just finding that cutoff for me, finding the balance and doing it anyway is what helps me.
You know, I'm in a big believer of just doing it. Nike. Nike, please sponsor us. Just do it.
A couple of gym bros.
Couple of gym bros and their Nikes. What can you say? Do you work out in Nikes?
Because I don't own a single pair of Nikes.
Oh, okay. That answers my question.
You?
Yeah, me. You should know this. My Harlan buys me a new pair of Nike sneakers like almost every week. He just got me a pair last week.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get you that sponsorship. Don't you worry. Not that you need it, because Harlan is your sponsor.
Literally.
That's it for today's episode of Talk Girlie to Me. If you vibed with it, send it to a friend, rate us 5 stars, and we'll catch you next time. Bye!